Hi, dear students. Yes, this is again an interesting topic, which is consonants. You are well familiar with the alphabets of English, as well as alphabets can also be found in other and many languages of the world. But English has some peculiar types of alphabets, and there are vowels and consonants, which are termed as vowels and consonants only on the basis of the voice and only on the basis of the articulation. So here today's topic under discussion is consonants. So let's try to understand what is consonant, and this is basically very easy for those students who are willing and who are you know to some extent ready and geared up to understand the topic under discussion. So let's get started. I have especially created 43 slides in order to make you conscious about today's topic under discussion. This will be very easy and informative as well. So get start, dear students. Today we embark on an exhilarating journey. We are going to take a journey by a ship, which is very gladdening, which is very happy journey for you into the fascinating world of consonants. So the world of consonant is so fascinating. It's a beautiful world. We are going to take a tour. So those incredible speech sounds that add depth, clarity, and beauty to human communication. So in order to understand the consonants, these are the only consonants and vowels. This really adds clarity, depth, and beauty to human communication. Communication is basically the exchange of ideas between and among the people. It can be written or it can be spoken. So, as we delve into the realm of consonants, we will explore their diverse classification, the intricate mechanisms behind their production, and their essential role in shaping the distinctiveness of different languages. So, consonants are a category of speech sounds in phonetics and linguistics. Phonetics, basically, this is the way to produce sounds. This is branch of linguistics in which we study how sounds should be produced, and how what is the what should be the production of sounds through using particular parts which take part in the production of sounds, and how sounds should be articulated and how sounds should be pronounced, because we must have a proper pronunciation while we are going to speak or utter the words we are to say. So the way to sound the words is called pronunciation, and linguistics, this is the basically the scientific study of the language. They are one of the two main types of sounds used in human language, the other being called vowels. So there are basically two types of sounds human produce regarding their particular language. These are vowels and consonants. As you know, there are 26 types of alphabets in English, and there are only five which are named and known as vowels. These are A, E, I, O, and U, and rest of the letters of the alphabets are called consonants. Consonants um, are produced when the airflow from the lungs is constricted or obstructed. You must need to understand that when there is any type of resistance or any type of stop during during the airflow, when our lungs start air, and they release air from themselves, and the air passes through the vocal cords, and then it passes through the mouth to get it outside of the mouth. So if there is any obstruction, if there is any constriction, which is known as some type of resistance and the blockage of the air, so these sounds are produced when there is a blockage of the air flowing from the lungs to the part of articulation to the parts of our articulatory organs, such as the lips, teeth, tongue, and palate. These are the parts of the articulatory organs. Organs basically is a system. It can be it can also be the mixture of tissues. When tissues join together, they make and they form organs. And when organs meet up and they collectively do something which is very particular and peculiar in its occurrence, this is called a system. So organs, articulatory organs means all those things which take part in producing the sound, in speaking the sound, in producing the sounds, are called articulatory organs. And these may be lips, teeth, tongue, palate, all the things which involve and take part in the production of the sound and articulating the sounds is are called articulatory organs, so resulting in more constricted or closed sound. So in order to understand the consonants, you need to have a look again on at how air is constricted and how air is obstructed and how air is stopped and blocked while pronunciation. So if the air stops, if you observe some type of blockage or some type of constriction or some type of obstruction, the sound can be termed as consonant sound. Whereas when you call and when you speak, when you pronounce the letters, vowels, there is no obstruction in the sound, like a, e, I, o, u. So there is no any type of obstruction or constriction. But when we talk about the consonants, there is basically uh, obstruction or constriction in some way, in some ways, by the articulating organs. So voicing, let's discuss voicing. Consonants can be either voiced or voiceless. Voiced consonants, which can be articulated, which can be phonated, these are called voice consonants. So voice consonants are produced with vocal cords vibration. So if vocal cords are vibrating, they are showing some type of oscillations under the reaction of passing air. Then we can say that this is basically a voiced a voiced or articulated or phonated system. So consonants can be either voiced or voiceless, and voiced consonants are produced with the vocal cords vibration, creating a buzzing or humming sound, while voiceless consonants are produced without vocal cords vibration, resulting in a quieter sound. So when there is a minor minor movement or the vibration or oscillation in the in the vocal cords, then we can say that these are the voiceless consonants. And if there is an obvious vibration, we are called we call them the voiced consonants. So it entirely depends upon the sound and entirely depends upon the vibration and oscillation observed in the vocal cords. Let's discuss this next slide. Place of articulation. This refers to the location in the vocal tract where the constriction or obstruction occurs. Common places of articulation include the lips, which can be known as bilabial, teeth, which can be known as dental, alveolar ridge, which can be known as alveolar, and hard palate can be known as palatal, and back of the tongue near the velum is termed as velar. And velar can be known as articulated from the soft palate or velum. So these were some of the ways that from where the articulation takes place, and uh, what what type of role our teeth, our alveolar ridge, and our hard palate and other things contribute in production and articulation of the sound. Okay, let's discuss the next slide. Manner of articulation. This describes how the airflow is modified or obstructed during the production of the consonant. Examples include stops, complete closure of the airflow, fricatives or narrowing the airflow to create turbulence, and approximates partial closure, allowing some airflow. Turbulence can be it might be any type of disturbance regarding the passage of air, and approximate partial pressure or cloyer. So a partial means it is not collectively or entirely closed, so this may be termed as partial. It means partially, which is not closed on the whole. So manner of articulation actually describes the airflow that is modified or obstructed. So while speaking the consonants, there is a special type of reaction of the air passing through our vocal cords. So sometimes it is disturbed and it is turbulated, and sometimes the narrowing the airflow to create the turbulence. So when sometimes when air is passing through our vocal cords, its passage may be narrow. Its passage narrows down, and there takes place some type of obstruction in uh, strictures. So basically the consonants are only those letters which uh, when we talk, when we speak the consonant letters, the air is obstructed. Let's discuss the next slide. Consonants play a crucial role in the language as they form the framework for syllables and words. Here, I want to make my students conscious about this is word crucial, not crucial, because basically try to understand what is word. Word is a collection of different letters of a particular language, like C, R, U, C, I, A, L. These all are letters. So I was discussing that how you have to pronounce the word crucial. So there is basically a rule. The rule shows that wherever there are two vowels together, you have to press the sound of one vowel, or you have to consider the sound of one vowel as silent. Like this is crucial, Crucial. These are all letters which take part in the pronunciation, and these letters combine to make a word. And the rule is there actually, when the E, I, and A, these are two vowels, and when two vowels are placed together in a word, you have to consider the sound of one vowel as silent. So this is crucial, not crucial. And one more rule for my students, that if you take a stock of this word form, here form make these letters make the word form. So you have to keep one thing in your mind, that whenever you are about to pronounce the word with the letter R, you have to press the sound of R or reduce its sound, like form. You will pronounce this word as form, not form. And same is the case with framework. This is not framework, this is framework. For, no, it's for. So let's try to understand. Consonants play a crucial role in language as they form the framework for syllables and words. When combined with the vowels, they create various speech sounds, allowing us to articulate and understand spoken language. In written term, consonants are represented by letters uh, in the alphabets, like G, B, C, D, F. These all letters are called consonant letters. If we talk about the previous material we have already discussed in form of slide, let's try to take a stock again of the slide I have created. Here, you should be well familiar with the sounds of consonants, because consonants will help you in making the sounds clear. They will enable you to speak like native persons. If you are going to uh, articulate a sound, if you are going to produce a sound, if you are going to uh, pronounce a sound, it should be in a particular way. Uh, you know, when we have poor pronunciation, we are sometimes unable to convey our meanings and our words to our listeners. So, the objective of speaking is just to convey our thoughts and our words to other our listeners. So if you want to improve your pronunciation and the sound, how to sound the words, you need to have full command over the consonants and vowels and how they are pronounced, how they are produced. So these things must be kept in mind. So again, let's talk about these letters, which are basically the alphabets in English. There are, 26 letters in English, and out of 26, there are five which are known as vowels, and rest of the all letters are called consonants. And vowels are five, which are A, E, I, O, and U, and all rest of the letters of alphabets are called as consonants. So uh, W and sometimes Y are can also be taken as vowels, but these are not vowels, but they produce the sound of vowels, and they can be termed as semi vowels, like sky, 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 fly, 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 rhythm. So such type of words are without written vowels, but there is actually a sound of vowels, and Y plays the role of a sound of a vowel. So let's discuss the next slide. All points were very clear to my dear students in the slide we were discussing. Now let's move towards the next one. It's important to note that the number and the specific types of consonant sounds vary across different languages. For example, English has approximately 21 consonant sounds, while other languages may have more or fewer consonants depending on their phonological structures. And phonological structure is the structure through which we articulate the sounds under obstruction and under constriction. These are called consonants, and if we are not going to articulate the letters of the letters or alphabets of any language without obstruction, these are termed as vowel sounds. So it depends entirely upon the language which is actually being discussed, and the structure of phonological structure of the language. So in English, we were talking about that there are approximately and nearly 21 consonants sounds only on the basis of their phonological structures. Although there can also be some semi vowels, but they function as vowels, but actually they are consonants. They just produce the sound of vowels in rhythms, in sky, in fly, in gym, and in myths. MYTH, myths. Basically, the myth is a set of wrong beliefs, and you are well familiar with the term gym, where you try to build your muscles and body muscles, etc. This word is gym, and this is also without vowels. And uh, uh, here GYM, this is basically the gym, and Y functions as a semi vowel, and it plays the role of a vowel because it produces the sound of a vowel, although it's not vowel. Okay, next, consonants also play a role in determining the rhythm and prosody of the language. Prosody of the language, basically, this is study of linguistics, in which we study how the words should be pronounced, and how we have to speak of the words, what should be the rise and fall of the words, and how words should be pronounced in a particular way. This system of pronouncing the words is known as prosody in linguistics, and linguistics is basically the scientific study of the language. And consonants play a role in determining the rhythm and prosody of the language, influencing speech patterns and patterns of stress and intonation. So when we talk about the prosody of a language, we consider that where we have to put the stress on the words, and where we have to uh, put a greater stress and a greater emphasis on the words, and this thing enables us to speak fluently and correctly according to the pronunciation of the native speakers like Americans and not like British people, basically. So intonation is basically the rise and let's discuss again. Intonation is basically the rise and fall of the voice while pronunciation, while sounding the consonants and vowels. So collectively we can say that if we are going to pronounce the words, we can name it as intonation, because here we have to discuss the rise and fall of the words. Sometimes in language, while speaking, we have to put some stress on some words of our communication, so this is basically known as intonation. In the written form of language, consonants are represented by specific letters in the alphabet. Yes, exactly. It's quite right that consonants are represented specifically uh, and particularly, and letters in the alphabets. However, due to historical and evolutionary reasons, the relationship between sounds and letters can be complex and sometimes inconsistent, which is not continuous in state, especially in English. The magic of consonants. Consonants are the unsung heroes of the language. While vowels often steal the spotlight, consonants form the backbone of speech, providing the structure and rhythm that make words and sentences come alive. Yes, exactly. The statement is quite right. Yes, the backbone plays a very vital role and very crucial role in order to stand you up. So if you can stand, if you can walk, if you can bend and bow, if you can jump, or if you can sustain your body, it's just because of the vertebral column or the backbone. If we talk about the backbone of something, we mean to say that this is very important, and its role is undeniably important. So consonants form the backbone of speech. So speech is speechless without backbone, and without so I can say that consonants are the backbone of speech, and speech is speechless without consonants. If there are not consonants, you cannot utter the words, you cannot make the words clear, you cannot make the words, and you cannot make the sentences, because when letters join together they form words, and when words join together they make sentences, and when sentences are made up of when sentences are made together, they form paragraphs. So if there is no consonant in your speech, you will never be able to speak. So that's the why that consonants play a role of backbone in the speech, providing the structure and rhythm that make words and sentences come alive. You just if your words are alive, if your words are in appropriate forms, it is just because of the role of consonants. So without consonants, language would be a mere collection of sounds. Exactly, because all words and letters have sounds, but we don't need in only sounds while we are going to speak. We every time, whenever we speak, whenever we open our mouths to say something, we want to convey something to our listeners. And if we are producing just sounds only, it doesn't mean that we are making him clear about what we want to say. So the things we need to articulate are just the proper words, rather than we are producing sounds. So if we are producing sounds, it means saying nothing to our listeners, and if they are unable to understand what we want to say to them. So without consonants, language would be a collection of sounds, lacking the intricate patterns and nuances that allow us to express our thoughts and emotions and ideas. You know, communication is just because of the letters and words. When letters join, they make sentence words, and when words join, they make sentences. And when you are going to utter or speak up sentences, when you are going to articulate, when you are going to sound the accurate words, you are making sentences. And this is basically the human communication. It can be written or it can be spoken. So these things only, this is the only communication which enables us to express our thoughts, emotions, and ideas. The power of vibrations. Okay, this is very important. When there is no vibration in vocal cords, when it is not passing through your lungs, out of your lungs to your vocal cords and mouth, you are unable to produce the sound. Either it's voicing or voiceless. Either it's the sound of a consonant or it's the sound of vibration. It is only the air which is actually passes through the lungs, and it actually it is released through the lungs, which passes through the vocal cords, and it vibrates. If your vocal cords are not vibrating, if your vocal cords are not oscillating, it means that there is not any production of the voice. You cannot even articulate even a single word if there is absence of vocal cords vibrations. So vibration is the very first thing that should be kept in mind to produce the sound. So this is the power of vibration. By exploring the concept of voicing, when producing consonants, our vocal cords play a pivotal role. Pivotal role means it is the role which is very important, the role which is crucial, the role which is very significant. So our vocal cords play a very pivotal role. Voiced consonants such as B and D and G involve the harmonious vibration of the vocal cords. Harmonious, which means that there is a particular type of vibration and oscillation, and vocal cords collectively take part in producing such sounds. So this is basically the harmonious vibrations of the vocal cords. These sounds possess a rich resonance that adds warmth and depth to our speech. On the other hand, voiceless consonants like P, T, and K do not engage the vocal cords, resulting in a crisp, uh, breathy quality. So in such cases, when we are going to pronounce P, T, and K, so we are to express our words through the air passing out of the lungs to the vocal cords and then our mouth. So it doesn't disturb and it does not vibrate much of the vocal cords all together or in an harmonious state. Place of articulation. Consonants are shaped by the dance of the tongue. Yes, exactly. The consonants are shaped and spoken by the dance of the tongue. If your tongue is still, if it is stationary, if your tongue is not moving, you cannot utter and speak a single word. So this can be said as the dancing of the tongue. So if you are going to shape the consonants, it means your tongue should dance. It should move upward, downward, and its movement should be lateral or unilateral. So it can move back and forth also to produce the and shape the sounds like consonants. Others are basically consonants are shaped by the dance of the tongue and other articulatory organs within our vocal tract. Different points of articulation create a marvelous symphony of the sound. Symphony of the sounds, it means that there is a rhythm of the sounds. Basically, when the sounds are equalized, when the sounds are in a composed symphony, it means that there is a particular sound, there is a particular wave of sound. So this is basically known as symphony. And marvelous means this is miraculous, this is wondrous, this is very astonishing and very astounding thing that we are going to articulate. This is very important point. We are going to articulate and create the marvelous symphony of the sounds. Picture the lips coming together for B and P, the tongue tapping the alveolar ridge for T, and D, or And along with such directions, our tongue also moves upward while we are going to say or pronounce sh. This is sha. And ch. This is cha. It also produces the sound of ka. So each unique point of the articulation contributes to diverse tapestry of the consonants found in the language across the globe. So tapestry of the consonants is basically the way we are going to knit the words through our tongue. So this is basically known as the tapestry of the consonant. Yes, this is very beautiful word used in this slide, which will enable you to understand if you are going to pronounce as consonants, it means that you are going to the diverse tapestry of the consonants. So this is very quite impressive and very beautiful word during the lecture of consonants. Okay, let's move towards the next slide. Manner of articulation. Whisper and rumbless. The manner of articulation adds yet another layer of the complexity to consonants. So here you need to understand what is whisper and rumbles. Rumbles is basically the slow and heavier sound when you are hungry. Your stomach goes on producing some types of sounds. So this is basically known as rumbles. And whisper when you have a little air pressure coming out of your lungs to your vocal cords and then to your mouth. It really vibrates the vocal cords in smaller amounts, so they take vibrations they take vibrations and oscillations, not much expected and not much heavier. So this is basically known as whisper. So the manner of articulation adds yet another layer of complexity to consonants. So the articulation of consonants is very complex. you know Complex means the words are going to be very uh, you know difficult to be perceived and comprehended or to be understood. Some consonants involve a complete blockage of airflow. There are some consonants which involve a complete blockage of airflow. As you know, according to the definition, that the consonants are only those letters when we pronounce them, there is a blockage of airflow, there is obstruction of airflow, there is a stricture in airflow. The airflow cannot actually be freely flown, so resulting in a brief explosion of sound, as seen in P, T, and D, K. So here words are actually produced and pronounced, but with airflow, but with the blockage of airflow. We call these sound stops. Other like S, F, and V allow a narrow passage for the air, creating a hissing or fricative effect. Fricative effect this means as hissing. Hissing means when the sound when grass rustles, when air blows, when the cool or warm air blows, and uh, it enables the air. It enables the grass tips to move and to collide with each other, and there is a hissing sound, there is a buzz sound. So this can also be known as fricative effect. There are also affricates which combine a stop with a fricative, such as the ch in church. And let's not forget the sonorous resonance of nasal, like M, N, and NG, which add a melodious hum to our spoken. So basically, there are this is just due to the function of consonants, that whenever we speak, there take place some melodious harmony among the words we are going to speak, and we are going to make these words the part of our communication while speaking and conveying our thoughts, feelings, and emotions to our listeners. So there might be some type of symmetry in the words, which seems to be very rhythmic and which seems to be very peculiar in their sound. So we can say it, this is a melodious hum to our spoken words. Language diversity and consonant richness. The beauty of consonants lies not only in their individual characteristics but also in their diversity across language. Different language features unique sets of consonants, and some language boast consonants in inventories that challenge our articulatory abilities. For example, the Georgian language is renowned for its extensive range of ejective consonants produced with a burst of air from the glottis. There is a burst of air actually speedily leaves the vocal cords, or speedily leaves the lungs. So this is basically the burst of air when there takes some type of explosion of the air, and air passes through the passage speedily, especially from the glottis. Dialects within a language. So basically, try to understand what is dialect. Dialect is actually the way to speak the words of a particular language differently. Suppose I want to make my students conscious that your dialect changes after covering the distance of 2.5 miles. You belong to a particular strata of society, and you have a particular language to be spoken, which is your mother language, but you have observed it whenever you go outside of your houses, and when you travel from one city to another city, or from one village to another village, and if you cover the distance of 2.5 miles, your dialect has changed. Although you will confront some type of those people who speak your language, but their accent and their dialect will be changed. It will vary your accent. So this is basically the fact that your dialect changes after covering the distance of 2.5 miles. So dialects within a language can also offer captivating variations in consonants pronunciation. Yes, yes, exactly. This is the way that the speakers of a same language can vary in their dialects, and this is really very captivating variation. It is very mesmerizing variation, and it is very interesting and very alluring type of variation that seems to be very lovely variation in the consonants and in pronunciation, creating a delightful array of regional accents. Yes, this is the why that I was talking, that if you go from one city to another city and you speak the same language as you hear the people of your strata and society, they also speak the language like you, but their accent and their dialect will be varying in consonants pronunciation. And this array of regional, this is just because the array of regional accents. So when you go from one region to another region, the same speakers of the same language will have different dialects. So this is very interesting to know. You have also experienced it. These phonetic subtleties add a rich tapestry of the sounds that reflect the diversity of human culture and expression. Yes, this is just because of the human culture and expression of thought, expression of words, expression of feelings, expression of passions, expression of emotions. And this is the tapestry of the sounds. This is the well knitted sound that that happens to come due to the regional accents, due to the array of regional accents. And this is the human culture and expression as well. Consonants in the action, phonotactics and the co-articulation. Consonants are not solitary performers. Yes, these are not the alone performers. These are not the solitary performers. They engage in the graceful dances with the neighboring sound. Yes, exactly. When you are to utter the consonant sounds, these are not only the consonants which are alone performers. They engage the graceful dances with the neighboring sounds. This intricate interplay is known as co-articulation. Co means joining something. So consonants also join other words, other things, along with their pronunciation and along with their sounds from neighboring sounds, This is known as co-articulation. For instance, the pronunciation of the T in the table might vary slightly depending on the whether it precedes a front vowel like I or a back vowel like O. Phonetics, the study of how consonants combine in a language, dictate the rules governing the acceptable sound and patterns in a given language. The rules shape the rhythm, flow, and melody of our spoken. So, phonetics, is the basically study of this consonants combined in a language, and which dictates the governing and acceptable sound patterns in a given language. Basically, these things, phonetics, shape the rules of the rhythms, flow, and melody of our spoken words. Writing systems, from sounds to symbols. The challenge of representing the consonants in the writing system has spurred the development of various scripts. In alphabets, each consonant is typically represented by a unique symbol. Alphabets are, these are the letters of a particular language through which words are made up of, and through these words there are sentences, and sentences take part in the communication, and these can be in form of a paragraph, and when paragraphs join together, there is a well knitted plot of an essay or whatever we are going to explain in different paragraphs. Paragraph, each paragraph contains a single idea, and again what appears has some different thing in it. However, the relationship between the sound and symbol is always straightforward, as witnessed in the quirks of English spelling. Conversely, abjads such as Arabic and Hebrew primarily present consonants, leaving vowels to be inferred from the context. Yes, sometimes we have to infer the words from the context. We have to understand what is the meaning of the word. Suppose if I say things are dear in big cities, as you know that if dear is used alone, it means some dear one. If I say you are my dear student, so it really means that you are a very lovely student, you are very dude and buddy student. It means that you are going to be entitled and tagged as very obedient student, very unique student in case of affection. But if I talk about that the things are dear in big cities, it means that according to the contextual meaning, we mean that things are costly in big cities. So words should be inferred and guessed from the context where they have different meanings. So, in Arabic and in Hebrew, we have to infer the words, we have to guess the words in which context they are used. These scripts offer a captivating glimpse into the ingenuity of human expression. Yes, consonants and language acquisition. Children embark on a remarkable journey when acquiring consonants. Exactly, when children are learning consonants, they move to another side of the world through a ship, which seems to be a very peculiar journey, which seems to be a very alluring journey. So, early language development involves mastering the intricate movements required to produce these sounds accurately. The joy of hearing a toddler say their first mama or dada exemplifies the incredible journey of the consonants acquisition. Yes, exactly. There was a time when you were used to be a very quiet baby boy, and you what said you just said only those words which you had spoken, which you had learnt, especially which you have learnt from your parents. Your parents used to say, my son, call papa, mama, dada. So these were the only sounds which you heard, and you started speaking only those which you had learnt, which you had listened from your parents. So basically, this seems to me a very niceful journey and beautiful journey when a toddler starts talking. So he only speaks those words which he had learned. Second language learners also face the challenge of mastering new consonants sounds, navigating the intricacies of pronunciation to communicate effectively in a foreign tongue. Yes, sometimes there is a problem for those students and those people who want to learn the second language. So it is very sometimes challenging for them to understand and to pronounce the words exactly like native persons. This is a problem for them, and they sometimes have the problems of communication and pronunciation, because if they want to communicate, they sometimes have the problem of mispronunciation. Mispronunciation is actually the wrong way to sound the words, a wrong way to announce the words, a wrong way to produce the sounds of the words, which is sometimes quite dissimilar to the native persons and speakers of the language. So sometimes we cannot effectively use a foreign tongue just because of the limitations in communication and poor pronunciation. In articulatory phonetics, a consonant is a speech sound that is articulated with complete or partial closure of the vocal tract. Yes, exactly. This statement is quite right. In articulatory phonetics, a consonant speech is a sound articulated with complete or partial closure. Complete, it means absolute closure, or partial closure means when a vocal when when vocal cords or when articulation or when the vocal tract is partially closed. Partially means not entirely closed. It can be said half closed. Examples are P and B pronounced with the lips, T and D pronounced with the front of the tongue, K and G pronounced with the back of the tongue, H pronounced in the throat, F, V, and S pronounced by forcing air through narrow channel fricatives, and M and N, which have air flowing through the nose, nostrils, nasal cavity. Since the number of speech sounds in the world's language is much greater than the number of letters in any alphabet, linguistics linguists have devised a system such as international phonetic alphabet. Yes, one thing to keep in mind is that there is much number of language spoken in the world as compared to number of letters or alphabets in the language. So uh, 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 basically, linguists are those people or those experts who studies the language scientifically. They are called linguists. So linguists have devised a system such as International Phonetic Alphabet, IPA. This is the abbreviation of International Phonetics Alphabets. So as you know, there is a scientific name for each and everything, because in many languages, like rose, if we talk about the rose, here we call rose in English, and we call it in Urdu as a gulab, but foreigners are unfamiliar with our native language, so they need to be understood as in a system. So International Phonetics Alphabets is a system which actually uh, composes the words which are known to each and every person around the globe. So, Rosa indica is the scientific name of the rose. Got it? So same is the case. It can also be known as the binomial nomenclature. This is the way that this is the way that things are given the scientific names, and scientific names are known as globally. So this is the why that you belong to different part of the globe, and I belong to different part of the globe, and many of others also belong to different parts of the globe, but they have their own language, they have different language, but they should depend upon a single thing, which is basically the IPA, International Phonetic Alphabets. In this is the way, this is the system of naming the words same around the globe. So this is known as biologically binomial nomenclature. This is the use of scientific names to different objects. So to assign a unique and unambiguous symbol to attested consonants. Okay, next, the word consonant may be used ambiguously for both speech sounds and the letters of the alphabets used to write them. In English, these letters are A, E, I, O, U. From these letters, all of from excluding these letters A, E, I, O, and U, these are vowels, and excluding all these letters, the rest of the letters of the alphabets are called as consonants. In English orthography, the letters H, R, W, Y and the digraph G, R are used for the both consonants and vowels. For instance, the letter Y stands for the consonant semi-vowel, like york, york is basically a vowel sound, and sky and gym and fly and myth, these are basically vowel sounds. Y functions as a vowel sound here in such words. Consonants with two simultaneously places of articulation are said to be co-articulated. The phonation of the consonants is the how vocal cords vibrate during the articulation. When the vocal cords vibrate fully, the consonant is vibrating at all. It is voiceless. Consonant versus consonants. Although related, careful not to confuse consonants with consonants. Consonants is a literary and poetic device in which the same consonant sounds anywhere in a word is repeated in several nearby words. The zoo was amazing. So here, Z is basically the consonants, and zoo and amazing. These are basically to Z sound is found at the beginning of zoo and towards the end of the amazing. So alliteration is subcategory of consonants. The this is basically the repetition of the letters in any poetical work or any work of any piece of literature in English. IPA notation. Yes, the International Phonetic Alphabet (IPA) provides a standardized system for representing the consonant sounds across the language. Each consonant sound has a unique IPA symbol, making it easier for linguists and phoneticians to analyze and describe the sound accurately. Co-articulation. We have already discussed it. Co-articulation. Let's again discuss. Consonants do not exist in isolation but interact with neighboring sounds during speech production. Co-articulation refers the influence and sound has another sound in terms of articulation and acoustic properties. For example, the pronunciation of a consonant might be influenced by the following vowel or preceding consonant, leading to the subtle variation in the sound production. Phonological feature. In phonology, consonants are analyzed based on the set of distinctive features that distinguish them from another. These features include voicing, place of articulation, manner of articulation, nasalization, aspiration, and more. These features allow us to understand underlying patterns and rules of governing consonants usage in language. Consonants clusters. Some languages permit consonant clusters, which are a combination of two or more consonants in a single syllable. Consonants clusters can be challenging to produce and may vary in complexity across language. For example, the word strength in English has a consonant cluster, which is more common in some languages than others. Sonority hierarchy. Sonority refers to the loudness or sonorous quality of speech sounds. Consonants are arranged on a sonority hierarchy, which helps determine the syllable structure in language. Syllable structure in language generally sonority increases towards the middle of syllable and decreases towards the edge. For instance, stops have lower sonority, while approximants have higher sonority. Understanding these technical aspects of the consonants provide valuable insight into complex nature of human speech and the ways in which different languages utilize consonants sounds to convey meaning and create diverse linguistic landscapes. Okay, our English language has a total 26 letters. It is our job as educators to teach our young students these 26 letters. Only five of our letters are involved vowels, which are the letters A, E, I, O, and U. Vowels are a very important part of the language because without them we would not be able to speak smoothly. Our spoken language would be very choppy. For instance, try saying CG. It sounds rough, doesn't it? Yes, exactly. It sounds rough. It's rather hard to pronounce too. Now add an vowel and try it again. Cat is not that much easier. Yes, exactly. It's easier by adding vowel. It will be pronounced easily. It's a much smoother sound, and you can easily say it like cat. Teaching these five vowels is crucial to helping your students to read with confidence. The bulk of our letters are called consonants. We define consonants as all letters that are not vowels. These includes all letters of alphabets of English except vowels. These are the letters that combine with our vowels to make the words we read and speak every day. Our consonants also alter the sounds of our vowels depending on the word. For example, the words car, cat have different sounds. The consonants surrounding the vowel a have changed sounds. When our vowels and consonants combine to form the sounds of our language that we are so familiar with, we have syllables units of an interrupted sounds in spoken language. The most common way of teaching syllables is with clapping. I remember learning the word happy and clapping twice, one for her and again for p. Since most of our students are already familiar with the language, clapping with sounds of a language comes easily. Okay, let's review that what you have learned. Our vowels are the letters A, E, I, and U. Our consonants are the letters that are not vowels. These include the letters except A, E, I, O, U. A syllable is a unit of uninterrupted sound in the spoken language. So here I am going to summarize my today's lecture. This is basically the definition of consonant. A consonant is a speech sounded produced by completely or partly stopping the air being breathed out through the mouth. So and again, consonant is a speech sound which is pronounced by stopping the air from flowing easily through the mouth, especially by closing the lips or touching the teeth with the tongue. This definition will enable you to understand what are the consonants. Let's discuss this last one. Here is also a picture describing the consonants you have to go through in order to have an idea about the slide I have created. The consonant is the form of Latin consonants, consonare, which means sound with no formal syllables. Here you can see that there is absence of syllables. Okay. And next, let's move towards the last one. This is very easy. Okay. Yes, consonants refers to the speech, sounds or letters of the alphabets that are not vowels. Exactly, this is the easiest way to explain. Thank you so much for listening.